Welcome back to the Black River. When we last paddled together, we were slowly working our way downstream 7 miles from Kingstree, South Carolina. We were paddling, pulling, lifting, trudging, and wading slowly down this beautiful river. After that laborious first day, we settled down to some campfire stories, to the sound of barred owls in the distance and the trains as they rolled through Salters. We awoke to a beautiful morning, mist swirling down the river. It was cold. We packed up as quickly as we could and set off. But before we get too far along in our journey, I want to touch on what this Black River paddle is all about. It's about making an impact by inspiring the good stewardship of our waters and our lands. It's about bringing these experiences to you in hopes of fostering a greater respect. We have a long and deep connection to our wild places. They fill us with a deep wonder, a curiosity. We have paddled down this river, camping along its sandy banks, to experience this place of memories, to learn from and to understand our river so that we can protect what might be lost, not only within our wild places, but also within ourselves, within our youth and our future. So paddle along with us and get to know our Black River. A little chilly this morning, but so worth it. My name is Marsh Dean, and I grew up on this river, swimming its waters and playing along its sandy banks. I was blessed to grow up in this place. We've been slowly making our way down 7 miles of river so far, guided by Dr. Lewis Drucker, a Kingstree native and lifelong paddler. Tim Bean joined us for this journey as well. He is a photographer and adventurous spirit from Southern Pines, North Carolina. Together, we wanted to document this river and share its story with you. The Black River is a designated state scenic river, beginning in the Thousand Swamps of Sumter County, flowing through Clarendon County, Williamsburg County, and into Georgetown County, into the Great Petey River, and eventually making its way into the Winyah Bay. It flows through cypress swamps and down the coastal plain, bordered by forests and rural farmland. It is marked by white sandbars and dark waters. Named for these sweet tea-colored waters that are stained by the tannins released from plant materials, this river shows traces of its ancient past, along with teaching us the lessons in biodiversity and keystone habitats that are so important to our future. It goes without saying that this place is a unique gem, a sacred river that gives us a rare look at an untouched wild place. And it is great news that we can secure this place. Important partners have come together to form the Black Scenic River Advisory Council and the Black Scenic River Project in an effort to place much of this river under conservation, to open up new areas, landings, parks, and allow for greater access, recreation, and education opportunities along over 70 miles of river. But as I've said before, greater access requires greater responsibilities. I believe that if we're going to open up access to this river, to those near and far, we need to make sure that visitors understand the story of this place, the important characteristics of this river that make it unique in this world, and why this river is so vital for the health of our entire coastal plain. It is crucial to all of us that this river be maintained in its natural state as a healthy, wild, and scenic river, protected from development for future generations. Only through access and education that leads to responsible recreation of this river that we can hope to mitigate the negative impacts that increased access will bring. Hopefully, this river can help all of us better understand and appreciate our wild places.
A lot of dragging, a lot of trudging. This whole 21 miles. I see a raccoon up ahead though. Right over in that brush.
What I love most about exploring a new place
There he is
the wonder that can be found around each bend. Whether it's a raccoon scurrying away or a beautiful tree, there's always something amazing to see.
So we've got 12 miles to go today, and it looks like just another day of this kind of pace. We got down to 40, or actually 38 this morning, Tim said. Oh, it was 38, it's so cold. And now the water is warmer than the air. So the water feels pretty good to walk in. Oh, there's the raccoon. Swimming across right up there. Footage of them if I can.
I might make it look easy scampering around through these waters barefoot. But remember, I've spent my life here. As you come around the bend, you're always surprised with what you might see. This place is habitat to a vast, diverse range of plant and animal life. And as I chase this raccoon downstream, I know that there are probably a dozen other pairs of eyes watching me.
Let's get this coon.
As I clamber over this log, I know that there are probably snakes within it or underneath it. There are certainly spiders crawling over it. I must always be aware and alert of my surroundings. There's poison ivy, snakes, spiders, splinters, many things that can ruin my day.
There's just a raccoon right here. I just got footage of a raccoon.
When you're pulling, trudging, paddling, talking, and breaking things down this river, you tend to scare away any wildlife that you're gonna see. The raccoon was the first good glimpse of a cool critter that I was able to capture. However, we did scare deer and ducks as we made our way down the river.
Oh, yeah, the raccoon was like not very afraid of me. He just was kind of watching me come down the river.
I wouldn't recommend just anyone plan a multi-day excursion on the Black River. As you can see, it's a beautiful yet arduous journey. As the water levels change, an easy paddle can become a long, difficult trip.
Limbo. Oh, almost went in. A little too much limbo. A little too low.
I'm glad to say if you went in, you'd be in all of 2 feet of water.
Yep.
That wasn't the first time that I got wet on this paddle, and nor will it be the last. Whether you're coming out here for a day trip, or whether you're attempting an overnight excursion, I would highly recommend that you stay within a few miles of the access points. Don't plan on going very far on this river if water levels are low, especially in the Williamsburg County section. Shallow places like this are all too common, and while they make a beautiful and wonderful place to rest, they make every foot of this paddle more difficult. If you are not in excellent shape, you can easily find yourself in a difficult or dangerous situation if you are out here alone and too exhausted to work your way out of these swamps. The Black River is a keystone habitat, a keystone environment, one that if it were to collapse, all of the surrounding environments would collapse themselves. The Black River is a coastal plains river, and when the rains come, throughout the year or particularly during hurricane season, the cypress swamps surrounding this river will fill, absorbing the waters and allowing the floods to flow naturally to sea. In October of 2015, the residents along the Black River experienced a 1,000-year flood after Hurricane Joaquin dropped almost 25 inches of rain upon the region. This event caused river levels to rise almost 20 feet above what is shown during our paddle. This flood swept away infrastructure, destroyed houses, and its leftovers are still seen upon the river today. But it's important to note that without these valuable wetlands, the flood would have been much more devastating. The great network of root systems along the river combat erosion and allow these sandy banks to remain intact. The Black River is also an important carbon sink. All of these cypress trees with their cypress knees capture carbon from the air and transport that carbon back into the soils of these swamps. This characteristic directly mitigates the human impacts on climate change, cleaning our air and waters, keeping our environments in check. So these holes are red-cockaded woodpecker holes. They are a keystone species and they're critically endangered. They're the only woodpecker that burrows into living trees. So living cypress trees, living longleaf pine trees, and they burrow, and then later on other animals like owls, songbirds, snakes, squirrels, anything will use those holes as a nest. And so the red-cockaded woodpecker is so important because they create shelter, they create nests for other species, and they do it in living trees. These cypress trees keep on living for hundreds of years with these holes all inside of them. So a beautiful example of how the trees and the birds are working together and then providing housing, affordable, free housing for other species.
Well, so once we're out here and paddling, man, it's just, you feel alive. There's like no stress, there's no aches. Yeah, it's just,
I could use it for therapy.
yep.
If I just needed to paddle until my heart rate was as high as it could possibly get.
You know, it would be nice to take people out and just do like a silent mile, you know, and just, you know, get everyone like, you know, think about whatever you want to think about, you know, think about the silence, think about nature, think about your connection to it. I bet people would enjoy something like that, or even kids, you know.
We developed that RMS South property.
That'd be perfect for it.
Go a short distance from the upper takeout to the lower.
Yep. That'd be a perfect spot to bring like a youth group, you know, because not too far.
What a gift it will be to give our children access to a place such as this, where they can focus on what brings them wonder, on the little things, the big things, and the beauty in between.
Uh-oh. Ahead looks a little hairy. Dang. Yeah, this looks like a challenge for sure. Ain't nothing to it but to...
This will be fairly deep here, I imagine. Well, no, it's not. I guess that maybe just travel the log and go over it.
Yep. I'm gonna bump into you a little bit, sorry.
I could cut all that underbrush there, but it's gonna be a little tough.
Yeah.
Hold back, Tim. Hold back. Hold back.
Let's see, I'm gonna...
Stay on the sandbar or something right now.
It's deeper right here.
Let's see how I would swing something like this. It wasn't too deep, right?
Right.
It got deep.
Yeah.
It got deeper.
I'm gonna climb up on this trunk right here.
Just like this. Oh, we got a second one in front of us here. Just kind of bouncing and getting in our way here.
You know, I might just put that there so I can get onto this.
Let's go one at a time.
Yeah. All right. Whew.
Yeah, this will be heavy pulling those boys across. All right, do I let you go? Do I dare do that? Tell you what, I'm gonna take this sucker out before I get it underwater.
All right, thank you. We made it. Oh man. Oh, so sore.
This was but one of many obstacles that we had to overcome along the way. Going over, under, and around fallen trees, sandbars. It was so difficult and also dangerous. Yeah, it's deep. Sometimes you just had to get waist deep or even chest deep in the water. And although animals like snapping turtles or alligators might be hibernating, that doesn't mean that they're not around. On the sunny days, we saw plenty of snakes. And so anytime we had to do this, we had to be very, very careful.
walk up this bank slowly. About the twigs underneath. You'll be okay. The adventure continues.
I know, right? This for 3 days. 3 days of this.
What's the ambient temperature right now? Like in the 40s?
Probably.
45. I mean, damn, I'm 66. I'm retired, right?
Hey, this thing, you get out here all the time. That's why you can do this. This is pretty awesome though. Shit, I bet most people our age would not be able to do this.
What?
Yeah, I bet you should.
It's a little nippy.
I could not imagine half of my friends out here doing this. They, yeah, I'll try to scoot by through here.
This log right here.
We made it. Whew. Got some sort of movement up here. Something in the water. Get a good shot of that. I don't know. Probably. Oh, we got another log. Yay. Two big logs. Whew. All right.
Drop straight off.
Yeah, it does. Once I get this, I think I got this.
Look how deep we're in the
Alrighty. And we got one more, even larger one ahead.
Turn them open.
Whew. Oh my gosh. This mud will just drop under a foot. Oh man. This one's gonna have to be up and over. Oh, and it's deep as hell. Oh, it's stupid deep right here. I swear. This Black River. You know what? I'm gonna go across that.
I remember in this moment seeing this giant log, trying to climb up on top of it. I was waist deep in the mud, sinking deeper. Every branch I would grab onto would break. I knew how many miles we had to go. How many more of these obstacles lie between us and our next landing, our next campsite? The stress, but also the physical exertion. When you're out this far, you have no other option but to keep going, to keep forging ahead. You know that there's a dozen trees behind you and an unknown number ahead of you. And so we just kept pushing and pushing. I had a dog with me, hundreds of pounds of camping gear, video gear, but we had to make it work. It certainly wasn't the most glorious looking expedition, as my trash bags were snagged most of the time, but it worked. We made it work.
Muscle him up. Oh, actually, you know what? Sliding on this log. Actually, it's doable.
As long as you're straight. See if I can land it over there. Maybe a shallow over here. Maybe. Do you want me to push?
Yeah, I'm gonna ease him in. I don't want him taking a boat.
He's on teeter-totter right there.
Oh.
All the way.
All right.
That's pretty impressive what you just did.
That's one thing I was blessed with is I didn't get my dad's height. I got my grandfather's body. I can move. I
Tip of your boat for going underwater.
can move some things.
Yeah.
All right.
What you want me to do right now?
I got this. Push it.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna lower it down, and then I'll help you all.
There is something revealed in the human spirit when you accomplish a feat, something that's difficult, when you place yourself upon a path, a journey, a paddle, with a destination that you must reach. Working these kayaks over so many fallen trees was so physically exhausting, but it was mentally exhilarating. When you push yourself through struggle, hardship, what you find on the other side of that log is something so much greater. Every mile down this river towards our goal was a mile of learning and growth.
I like Old Town. I think I want to look into getting one of the newer ones,
That's
maybe.
an old boat, man.
But they're good. They're good boats. They seem to hold up.
An outfitter in Panopolis from Kingstree named Louis Nixon. I called him up years ago and said, Louis, I need a new boat. He said, I'll sell you one of my fleet. I said, okay, fine, give it to me. He brought that and said, try this out for a week. And it fit my butt perfect. And I said, look, it's stable enough where I can get other people out of the water, and yet it's sleek enough where I can keep up with people and I can carry all my crap in it.
Marsh, the camera's in the hoodie in the seat.
All right.
Just watch that front.
Huh?
I got it.
Watch that
Oh, the pedal's gonna let you catch your crotch.
Yeah, we'll go slow.
Yeah, we're clear of your crotch right
Yep.
now.
All right. I'll hold it. Keep it.
We're good. Yeah, we're good.
All right. right, yes.
Very nice.
Hey, that was we're pros. Hey, I'm a pro at this point. I used some of the other logs to monkey up onto it. I got long arms, long legs. It's stupid deep. And this tree is not young. This is dead. Any more weight on this limb and it's gonna pop. Let's please hold my weight. Please hold my weight. Because if not, I'm gonna get hurt.
I would not recommend that anyone climb on dead trees barefoot in the middle of a swamp. A single slip, a splinter, a deep gash could have really ruined this trip, especially with how far out into nature we were.
Black River paddle.
I gotta get my kayak. Get deep.
See, I stick to the trees.
Oh, there it is.
All right. Oh man, that was tough. I know, that's the thing. It's hard to get the videography done when it's just so difficult. I'm gonna have to tell people, be like, we need a bit more time.
This was something that was done by Georgetown Parks and Recreation, early 2000s. A gentleman named Ron Walford was a part of that with Georgetown County. We helped him out. They had almost like a conservation corps group of college students or something come through and try to do a river trail on the river back then. And they had an east section and a west section. I was helping them with that some. And they put these posts up so that you could figure out where you were on the map as far as these placards.
That cave right there goes about 8 feet in and then turns to the right. And there are very evident, fresh gator tracks and a belly slide in there. So right now there is probably a 6 to 8 foot gator up in that cave, hibernating, resting. Dr. Drucker wants me to climb up in there and find it, but I don't want to get my shirt dirty.
Right here we've got the prints of a gator, the belly slide right there where it's flattened out. You go farther up, there's the tail slide right there. And so there is a gator somewhere in this hole.
Really? You see him?
I don't see him, but I know he's in there. That's his belly slide right there. You can see where his tail's been dragging.
Go up in there and see if he's awake.
He's up in there to the right. And I bet he's only
It goes to the right, but I bet it only goes, he's probably only 10 feet in there. I don't know, unless he's hibernating, maybe he'd go back as far as he can. There you go. There's the belly slide for the gator. That's a great shot of it. Maybe if we had extra time, I would climb up in there.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Extra time is the only thing that's keeping you from going in there. We're short on time. The story of Kelly is supposedly, now, I've heard multiple stories. Kelly was being chased. Now, he was either being chased by the British, or he was being chased by the Yankees during the war between the states, or else he was simply a convict who was being chased by law enforcement. Well, it seems that Kelly found this cave to get away. And so supposedly he went into this cave, crawled through it. None of the people chasing him would go in after him, and he came out the other side and got away. Well, I'll tell you firsthand, there is no other end to this cave. It narrows down to nothing about 50 feet up in there, because I've been in there. and luckily there was no alligator in there when I went in there years ago. But this is what I remember as being one of 3 openings to Kelly's cave on this limestone.
All right.
Everyone called him cool.
You know,
You let Rucker talk you into going in there?
I'll squat in there. It's not that bad.
It'll be definitely muddy. But
Let's see, where...
I want to say you can go both ways. Primarily I want to say left.
I'm gonna
It's been a long time since I've been in there.
take this headlamp. All right, so years ago, Dr. Drucker went up in there about 50 feet. I'm gonna go up in there maybe 8 feet or less. But there
Go
are
for it.
very obviously tracks of some sort of critter. Y'all see those? We have not been in there. Those might be otter, raccoon. They're 3-toed actually. That's weird. I don't see a belly track, so I don't think this is an alligator den. Look at that, y'all.
Hear the dripping of the limestone, the water coming out?
All right. Gonna do a crab walk. Oh, it goes up multiple ways.
Yeah.
Man, this flashlight must be out of batteries. I'm gonna use the phone. I wonder what these tracks are. You know, it does.
You can only get into this at ultra low water levels. Otherwise it's flooded.
All right, y'all. So I'm in a cave. What's up?
The only cave we got in Williamsburg County.
The only cave you can crawl into. But I'm a little nervous because what if it collapses? Oh. I can see something way in there.
Can I be like Marlon Perkins talking about Jim going into the cave?
I'm not gonna go any farther, but this is pretty cool.
Hey. Yeah.
I hope the GoPro can get all this. All right, so it goes pretty far up in there. And then over here, it goes up in that direction.
And there they are. And then it also goes way up in there. All right. I'll get a photo now. Guess I gotta. That's crazy. I can hear movement. Like I can hear things above me. All right.
Kelly's Cave. So it goes way back in there, 50 feet. And Kelly was running from the British, or maybe running from the Union, or maybe he was a smuggler running from the law. But at some point in time, Kelly came out in here and apparently crawled way back through this cave and escaped the law, or whoever he was running from. So, and then years ago, Dr. Drucker. So tell us about your excursion back there into Kelly's Cave.
Well, it was August many years ago, and a spelunking friend of mine came here. Of course, the water level's got to be very low just to get into the cave, otherwise it's completely flooded. And we knew this limestone bank was here, and so he was a little worried about going up in there, so whether it be alligators or just the tightness of it. So I had a hard hat with a light on it. I had a big rope around my ankle that he was out here holding. This was a hot August day, and I had a big long stick in front of me just in case I met somebody I didn't want to meet up in there. And I crawled up in there and I found that it branched off in different areas up in there. And I went easily 50 feet up in there, easily. And what was weird was when I was up in there, it started smoking. And I said, what in the world is this? But I could breathe just fine. And then I realized what it was when I was way up in the cave, even though it was a 100-degree August, South Carolina day, up in the cave it was cool. That was the steam coming off of my body that I was seeing. I realized, wow, it got so tight in there that I couldn't just turn around. I had to back into one of the openings and then come back out in order to get back out here. But it was a great experience, and you don't get to see this very often unless the water's really low, and you're getting to experience it today, at least the outer part. You won't go up in there.
Nah. If I were to have gone any farther, I would have had to have gotten on my belly and crawled, and there are all sorts of animal tracks in there. But it's pretty cool, and you can hear the weird thing when you're in there. You can hear like crackles, and like it almost sounded like someone was walking above me, but very faintly, almost the sound of, I don't know, maybe things burrowing or water leaking down. It was really interesting, but I was only 8 feet in, not going any farther.
On to the next adventure.
On to the next one.
There won't be many left.
Oh, my toes are all cut up.
It's a pretty unique one here.
How old this river is can be seen in these stone cliffs along the side. We all know that if you go way back, we were sitting at the bottom of the ocean floor. And that's why there's so much sand at the bottom of the Black River and all over the low country. But also at one point, the Appalachian Mountains looked like the Rocky Mountains. They were jagged and tall, the world's oldest mountain chain. And so down here in Williamsburg County, coastal South Carolina, this ridge right here was once part of a mountain range, part of the southern tip of the Appalachian Mountains. After many millions of years, it's eroded down, but it's testament to how the topography of this land and this river has changed from the bottom of the seafloor to mountaintops and now to this sandy, beautiful river.
Drink your water. Have any.
Describe that again. So describe how the bridge was blown out and the British were up there and the rebels were down here.
So if you look down here at Lower Bridge, the high ground is to the right. And you always hope that when you're in a battle of any type to have the high ground. But in this case, it worked against the British because the British were up on the high ground. The Loyalists are down here on the low ground on the left. The British couldn't lower their cannons far enough down to hit them. But the sharpshooters on the lower ground could pick off the British at the top on the bluff. And so it worked. They saved Kingstree.
And
Well,
so
they also burned the bridge.
so they the rebels burned the bridge when it was
Also-
Sherman.
Yes, and also during the war between the states, when Potter's Raiders are coming up from Georgetown and they come to Johnson Swamp overnight. And then they come up here, and then once they get here, they have a skirmish here with some of the rebels that are on the left bank again, trying to protect Kingstree. They burned the bridge here so that the Union troops couldn't cross. The Union troops spent the night right here in Thorntree Swamp, which is kind of behind us, and then went on up, basically almost on the roadbed of Highway 521 today. Went up toward Manning, went up toward Sumter, went on up toward Camden. Potter's Raiders, part of Sherman's burning down of South Carolina.
So twice the river has saved Kingstree. Twice the bridge was burned during both the Revolutionary and after the Civil War, and twice this river was the barrier that protected Kingstree.
That's my understanding.
That is amazing.
So we owe the river a lot.
This is the kind of history. There's no marker here. You would never. Well, there's a marker up on the
For the Revolutionary.
on the highway, but you know, you would never know paddling down this river the story that these banks, this high bluff on the right and the low bluff on the left, has told.
This is how.
Rapids on the Black River, South Carolina. Whoa, 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 whoa.
The water level's down like this. You see that?
Yeah. Nice.
Guarantee that a gator, if this were summertime, there'd be a gator sitting right there sunning. Oh, this is pretty. Have to look cool. Now that I'm caught up. This is such a nice spot right here.
Yeah.
I think that landing becoming public access would be so great, because imagine we could take a little kayak class, a little photography kayak class you know, part of the Plantersville Summer Academy, come down here, picnic out here, talk about biology and wildlife and conservation.
It's a little island.
Yeah.
Spot to camp.
Oh, dude, an amazing spot to camp. And even have little placards on all these little islands. You know, a little placard that just says, you know, please pack out your litter, leave it as you came, you know, respect the river. And I think just little reminders like that will be enough to make a difference over time. I bet that stump is eating some props. Right, starting out, yes, we will start to see some litter. Everyone will have to manage it. We'll have to have some signage, but and receptacles hold people accountable. But my thought is that generationally, you know, we get school classes, summer camps of kids coming out here of all ethnicities together, right? And we talk to them about the messages and what we're trying to do in protecting this place. 20 years from now, we might not see litter because we might have a population that respects it.
It's a nice thought.
It's a nice thought, and I feel like it's very far-fetched, right? But I feel like that's kind of the only hope we have. Like David Attenborough, he put out a documentary last year,
Yeah.
and he talks about his lifetime and all the damage that's been done throughout his lifetime. And that,
Incredible to listen to that man talk.
yes, but that documentary is so, I mean, just when he puts those numbers up, right, between each segment, it's so disheartening. And I want to do a similar thing. I want to do a similar production here in Georgetown County, talk about the acreage we've lost within my lifetime, which is not that long, but you know, the acreage the acreage we've developed, get all these stats and talk about it in a way to let people understand that we do need to be a little more careful in how we manage it.
As we found our campsite, started to unpack and started a fire, this thought continued to weigh upon my mind. How do we do a better job at protecting and managing our wild places? We are currently living through the greatest migration event that our nation has ever seen. A huge influx of people are moving to more rural and wild places. Current development plans and practices must be evaluated to accommodate this changing world that we find ourselves in. As I enjoy the perfect solitude that this river offers, an owl flies into camp. We gaze in wonder at this beautiful bird of prey that seems to be completely unafraid. We open up some cans of soup, simmer a few river mussels gathered right by the camp, and enjoy the fruits of a long and hard day, full of adventurous accomplishments and lessons learned along the way. Definitely needs more time.
Oh yeah, it's gonna look good.
We'll campsite out here on the Black River. Got an awesome fire. Got some river mussels. Some cans of soup. We're eating good. If you enjoyed the Black River Paddle, the second voyage, give us a follow on our social media pages. That's MLNL Media, Marsh Dean, and Tim Bean. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. If you want to support the Black River, check out the Winyah Rivers Alliance, a nonprofit dedicated to protecting the 5 great rivers that flow into the Winyah Bay. Also, stay tuned for the next episode of the Black River Paddle as we make our way slowly towards the Winyah Bay. We will paddle into Georgetown County, viewing 1,000-year-old grand cypress trees while exploring some of the most scenic sections near Andrews. We will dive deeper into the wildlife and the ancient human connection of this beautiful river. Thank you so much for watching.